let's install a free Windows 11 development VM. Head over to this Microsoft site. The link is in the description. Download the Hyper-V Gen 2 VM. Next, we'll verify the file integrity by generating the SHA-256 hash of the downloaded zip file and comparing it to the hash shown on the website. Open the Windows terminal and CD to the download location. Run the command, get -file hash space, and then the file name. Now compare the generated hash against the one on the website. If they match, the file integrity is good. Next, navigate to the downloaded file in Windows Explorer and extract the zip file. The zip file contains a virtual hard disk with Windows 11 pre-installed. All we need to do is create a VM and attach this virtual disk to it. To create a new VM, right-click the Windows host. For me, that's this machine called Homelab. Then select New, and then Virtual Machine. The new virtual machine wizard opens. Click Next to proceed. Give the new VM a name. I'll call my VM Windows 11 Dev Eval. I'm going to click Store the virtual machine in a different location. Whilst this step is not strictly necessary, I prefer to keep my VMs, virtual disks, and checkpoints organized in a folder called Hyper-V. So I'll store this VM in its own folder called Win11 Dev Eval that is inside of the folder Hyper-V. Click Next. Remember the download was for the Gen 2 VM. So here we need to select Generation 2 and then click Next. According to the Windows 11 Dev Eval download page, the minimum requirements for memory is 8 GB, so I'm going to assign this to the VM. Click Next. Next, we need to connect the VM to a virtual network switch. I'm going to connect it to this one called my vSwitch that I created in a previous video. Click Next. Now, instead of creating a new virtual disk like I did in a previous video where I deployed Ubuntu, this time I need to attach the virtual disk I downloaded from the Microsoft site. However, as the VM hasn't been created yet, neither has the folder that will contain the VM. So for now, I will select Attach a virtual disk later. Then after the VM has been created, I'll move the downloaded virtual disk to the newly created VM folder, then pop back here and attach the downloaded virtual disk. Click Next. And finally, click Finish. Right, now that the VM has been created, I can move the downloaded virtual disk into the VM folder. Within Windows Explorer, navigate to where the zip file was extracted to. Then cut the virtual disk and navigate to the VM folder. So for me, that's the C drive, Hyper-V. And then Windows 11 Dev Eval. Then paste the virtual drive into this folder. Next, pop back into Hyper-V, and to attach the virtual disk, right-click the VM and select Settings. At SCSI Controller, select Hard Drive, and then click Add. Browse to the location that you just pasted the virtual disk to, so for me that's here. Select the virtual disk and click Open. Now click Apply. Next, we need to check the boot order to ensure that the VM will boot from the virtual disk we just attached. Select Firmware and move the hard drive to the top of the boot order. Click Apply. At Security, we need to ensure that if Secure Boot is enabled, that template is set to Microsoft Windows. If you want, you can also enable the TPM. Then at Processor, we want to ensure that the VM has enough CPU resources to run OK, while at the same time not negatively impacting the performance of the host. For this reason, I'll define the number of virtual processors as 2. Notice that when I did that, the percentage of total system resources placed on my host went down from 50% to just 10%. Click Apply. At checkpoints, I prefer to deselect Use Automatic Checkpoints. Then finally, click Apply and then OK. Let's create a checkpoint now so that we can return this VM to its new state at any time. Right-click the VM and select Checkpoint. You'll see the new checkpoint appear in the Checkpoint section. Right, now we're ready to power on the VM. Double-click it to open a virtual monitor and then click the Start button. I'm going to maximize this window to get a better view. The first boot may take a few minutes. I've sped this up a bit for the video. When asked what resolution you'd like to display the VM at, choose the one which you prefer. I'm going to go with full screen. There is no password, so just click Sign In. And there you have it. A free Windows 11 Enterprise VM with pre-installed development tools for all your Homelab needs. Don't forget that this is an evaluation version of Windows, and as such it will expire. But you can always download the latest version of the VM and redeploy when that happens. Subscribe for more Homelab tutorials.